What if I told you that in 2025, thousands of American students are packing their bags, leaving behind the classrooms of New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles, and enrolling in schools across Delhi, Bengaluru, and Mumbai? Sounds unbelievable, right? For decades, the trend has always been the other way around. Indian students moving to the U.S. in search of better education and opportunities. But now, something fascinating is happening. The flow of students is reversing. The numbers speak for themselves. Enrollment of American students in Indian K-12 schools has jumped by nearly 40% in just the last 3 years. Indian universities are reporting record-high applications from U.S. students, and international exchange programs have more American participants choosing India than ever before. For the first time in history, India is not just a destination for travel and outsourcing. It's becoming a global education hub. So why is this happening? Why would families in the United States, one of the wealthiest nations in the world, send their children halfway across the globe to study in India? The answer is multi-layered. Lower costs, high-quality academics, and world-class exposure are major reasons. But beyond that, students are drawn to India's cultural richness, its booming global career opportunities, and the life-changing experience of being educated in one of the world's most dynamic societies. In this video, we're going to unpack it all. We'll look at the affordability factor that's saving American families tens of thousands of dollars. We'll dive into the quality of education that rivals or even surpasses many U.S. schools. We'll explore the lifestyle and lessons students are learning outside the classroom. And finally, we'll look ahead at what this trend means for the future of global education. So let's dive in. Historical context. Why this is new. For most of modern history, the educational journey between India and the United States has been a one-way street. Every year, hundreds of thousands of Indian students set their sights on American universities, dreaming of Ivy League campuses, Silicon Valley tech jobs, and the promise of the American dream. In fact, by the mid-2010s, Indians made up one of the largest groups of international students in the U.S., especially in fields like engineering, medicine, and business. But in the 2020s, something surprising began to shift. The arrows of mobility started pointing in the opposite direction. Instead of just Indians flying west, more and more Americans began heading east, to India. At first, it seemed like a niche phenomenon. A handful of families experimenting with sending their kids to Indian international schools, or adventurous college students choosing India for a semester abroad. But by the mid-2020s, it became clear this wasn't just a fad. It was a trend. Why? 3 major forces converged. First, the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted higher education globally and forced families to reconsider the value of expensive U.S. tuition. Second, the relentless rise of American education costs, both at K-12 private schools and universities, was simply becoming unsustainable. And third, globalization opened the door for India to present itself not only as an economic powerhouse, but as an educational one too. Educational analysts are now calling India the new land of opportunity for foreign students. It's a stunning reversal of the old narrative, and it signals something bigger. India isn't just sending its brightest minds abroad anymore. It's also attracting ambitious young minds from across the world, including the United States. The cost advantage. Let's start with the most obvious driver behind this trend: cost. Education in the United States has become prohibitively expensive. Now compare that with India. International schools in cities like Bengaluru, Delhi, or Hyderabad charge between $4,000 and $8,000 per year for a world-class education that includes international baccalaureate, IB, or Cambridge curricula, modern campuses, and extracurriculars ranging from robotics labs to model United Nations clubs. Even the most elite boarding schools in India, places like the Doon School, Mayo College, or Woodstock School, are often less than half the cost of their American counterparts like Phillips Exeter or Choate Rosemary Hall. The difference becomes even starker at the university level. In the U.S., tuition at a private university averages $40,000 to $70,000 per year, and that doesn't include housing, books, or other fees. Let's take a real-world example. Consider an American family with 2 children. If they were to send both kids to U.S. private high schools and later to private universities, they'd likely spend upwards of $1 million on education. By choosing India instead, that same family could cut their expenses by as much as 70 to 80%, while still securing high-quality schooling and degrees recognized globally. For middle-class American families who feel squeezed by the skyrocketing costs of education, India offers an alternative that is not just affordable, it's transformative. This financial advantage alone explains why so many parents are taking the leap. Quality of education. Now, affordability is important, but let us be clear. Families wouldn't uproot their lives just to save money if the education wasn't good. The reason this trend is sustainable is because the quality of education in India has risen dramatically over the last 2 decades. One of the biggest selling points is the rise of international curricula. Today, Indian schools are among the top global providers of IB, International Baccalaureate, and Cambridge International programs. In fact, cities like Bengaluru and Mumbai now have dozens of international schools where American students can seamlessly transition without worrying about curriculum gaps. For those in high school, advanced placement, AP courses are also widely offered, keeping doors open for you. Or European college admissions. English, of course, is the medium of instruction in most of these schools, which makes the transition smooth for American students. But beyond language, the rigor is undeniable. India has a reputation for producing world-class talent in STEM fields, with IITs, IITs, and NITs regularly appearing in global rankings. These institutions are known for their academic intensity, but also for producing some of the world's top innovators, including CEOs of companies like Google and Microsoft. But it's not just about STEM anymore. India's liberal arts revolution is underway, with institutions like Ashoka University, Jindal Global University, and Flame University offering interdisciplinary programs modeled after American liberal arts colleges. These campuses attract global faculty, host diverse student bodies, and partner with universities across Europe and North America for exchange programs. Let's bring this down to a personal story. Take the case of Emily, a high schooler from Seattle. Her parents enrolled her in an IB school in Bengaluru after struggling with rising private school fees in the US. Not only did Emily thrive academically, she also discovered new interests. She joined a theater club that performed plays in both English and Hindi, and she's now preparing for a semester-long exchange program with a partner school in Singapore. Her parents say the experience has broadened her horizons in ways they never expected. Stories like Emily's highlight why quality is no longer a question mark. India is not just a cost-effective option. It's a place where American students can grow, compete, and flourish on the global stage. Beyond affordability and academics, one of the biggest reasons American students are choosing India is for the cultural and lifestyle experience. Education here isn't just about textbooks. It's about living in a country that is vibrant, diverse, and endlessly dynamic. Imagine being a teenager from California and waking up in the foothills of the Himalayas for your boarding school classes, or being a college student from Boston, attending lectures in a modern Indian university, then spending weekends exploring centuries-old forts, bustling markets, or yoga retreats by the Ganga. This combination of the ancient and the modern is something uniquely Indian, and it's what attracts families looking for an education that broadens horizons, not just resumes. For American students, India offers an immersion in diversity. Over 22 official languages, multiple religions, and dozens of festivals mean that cultural education happens every single day. Students quickly learn to celebrate Diwali with fireworks, Holi with colors, and Eid with shared meals, all while still having access to international communities and expat networks. This cross-cultural exchange builds empathy, adaptability, and resilience, skills you can't buy in a classroom. Lifestyle is another major factor. Many American families relocating to India are pleasantly surprised at the affordable yet high-quality living standards. Housing, food, and transportation costs are far lower than in the U.S., which means families can often afford luxuries they couldn't back home, like having domestic help traveling more frequently or enrolling their kids in extracurriculars such as music, dance, or martial arts. The food experience is also transformative. For some students, it's their first time trying authentic Indian curries, dosas, or biryanis. For others, it's an opportunity to embrace a healthier, more plant-based diet. American parents often note that their kids return home not just with better grades, but with a more adventurous palate and healthier lifestyle habits. At the same time, modern conveniences are never far away. International chains, malls, and cafes are widely available in urban centers, so students don't feel completely cut off from home. Apps like Uber, Swiggy, and Zomato make life even easier. The blend of tradition and modernity gives students the best of both worlds, exposure to something new without losing touch with the familiar. Perhaps most importantly, this cultural exposure builds a sense of global citizenship. Students who study in India don't just learn math or literature. They learn how to navigate differences, adapt to change, and thrive in environments far outside their comfort zones. These are life lessons that prepare them for leadership in an increasingly interconnected world. Opportunities after graduation. Now let's talk about the big question every parent asks. What happens after graduation? Does studying in India actually give American students opportunities for the future? The answer is a resounding yes. First, let's look at higher education pathways. Many American students completing high school in India, especially in IB or Cambridge programs, apply to global universities, and their admission rates are impressive. In fact, international admissions offices often see time spent in India as a strength. It signals resilience, adaptability, and global exposure. An American student who has thrived in an Indian international school often stands out in applications to Ivy League colleges or prestigious European institutions. For those pursuing university degrees in India, the opportunities are equally compelling. Graduates from IITs, IIMs, or top private universities like Ashoka or Jindal often secure positions at multinational corporations, global NGOs, or startups. Companies like Google, Microsoft, Deloitte, and Goldman Sachs regularly recruit from Indian campuses. With India now being one of the fastest-growing economies in the world, career opportunities in tech, finance, healthcare, and creative industries are booming. There's also the entrepreneurship factor. India's startup ecosystem is among the top 3 in the world, attracting billions in venture capital each year. For American students with an entrepreneurial mindset, studying in India puts them right in the middle of a thriving innovation hub. Whether it's fintech in Bengaluru, media startups in Mumbai, or biotech in Hyderabad, opportunities abound. Beyond careers, many American students are also attracted by the spiritual and personal growth opportunities. Some extend their stay in India to explore yoga teaching, Ayurveda, or social impact work. Others dive into research or policy work, taking advantage of India's unique position as both a developing economy and a global leader. Consider the story of Jacob, a student from Texas who attended Manipal University for his undergraduate studies in biotechnology. After graduating, he landed a role at a global pharma company in Bengaluru, gaining hands-on experience in clinical trials. Today, he's pursuing a PhD in Europe, and he credits his Indian education for giving him both the technical skills and the cultural adaptability to thrive internationally. In short, studying in India doesn't close doors for American students. It opens more of them. Whether they return to the U.S., stay in India, or move elsewhere, they graduate with global networks, valuable skills, and a unique story that sets them apart. Lessons and reflections as we near the end of this story. It's worth pausing to ask, what do American students actually learn from their time in India, beyond academics? Lesson 1. Patience. One of the first challenges expat families encounter is India's bureaucracy. From visa renewals to school admissions, processes can be slow and sometimes confusing. But students and parents alike quickly learn resilience. They develop patience, resourcefulness, and the ability to navigate complex systems, skills that are invaluable in any career or life situation. Lesson 2. Adaptability. Cultural differences can be jarring at first. The traffic, the festivals, the social customs, it's a lot to take in. But those who embrace it come away with the gift of adaptability. Students learn to celebrate diversity, work with people from different backgrounds, and find common ground in unexpected places. In today's globalized world, adaptability is one of the most critical skills a person can have. Lesson 3. Growth. Perhaps the most profound outcome is personal growth. Living and studying in India forces students to step outside their comfort zones. They gain independence, empathy, and a broader worldview. They also discover new passions, whether it's yoga, Indian classical music, or volunteering at local NGOs. This growth is professional too. Students learn to think globally, solve problems creatively, and seize opportunities with confidence. As one educational consultant put it, if you can thrive in India, you can thrive anywhere. The challenges may be real, but so are the rewards. American students return home not just with degrees, but with resilience, adaptability, and stories that will stay with them for a lifetime. Quality of education. One of the most common questions American parents ask is, sure, the costs are lower, but is the quality of education actually good enough? The answer today is a confident yes. Over the last 2 decades, India has undergone a quiet educational revolution that has transformed its schools and universities into truly global institutions. The first piece of evidence lies in the rise of international curricula. Just a generation ago, most Indian schools followed state or national syllabi. Today, however, India has one of the largest networks of international baccalaureate, IB, and Cambridge international schools in the world. From Delhi to Pune to Chennai, American students can enroll in programs that are recognized across Europe and North America. Many of these schools also offer advanced placement, AP, courses, ensuring that students don't miss a beat when applying to U.S. or Canadian colleges later. Language is another big plus. Since English is a primary medium of instruction in most Indian international schools and universities, American students can transition seamlessly without the steep language learning curve they might face in countries like Germany, Japan, or France. That accessibility makes India a far less intimidating choice. Then there's India's legendary focus on STEM education. The Indian Institutes of Technology, IITs, National Institutes of Technology, NITs, and Indian Institutes of Information Technology, ITs, are globally recognized for their rigor. Alumni from these institutions lead companies like Google, Microsoft, and Adobe, proving that the academic standards hold up at the very highest levels. But STEM is only part of the story. India is also rapidly becoming a hub for liberal arts and interdisciplinary studies. Universities like Ashoka, Jindal Global, and Flame are modeling themselves after American liberal arts colleges, offering small class sizes, cross-disciplinary programs, and world-class faculty. These institutions often attract professors who have studied or taught in the U.S. or Europe, bringing with them a global perspective. To make this concrete, consider the story of Samantha, a high school junior from Oregon. Her parents relocated her to an IB school in Bengaluru. At first, she was nervous about adjusting to a new environment. But within months, she was thriving, taking advanced math courses, participating in debate tournaments, and joining a robotics club that went on to compete internationally. Samantha says she feels more challenged and more inspired than she ever did back home. And the best part? She is now exploring exchange opportunities with partner schools in Singapore and London, all made possible by her Indian school. The takeaway is clear: American families aren't just saving money. They're gaining access to an education that's globally competitive, diverse in offerings, and deeply enriching. Cultural and personal growth. But education in India is not limited to academics. For American students, some of the most profound lessons come outside the classroom, through cultural immersion, personal challenges, and new friendships. India is a country of festivals, traditions, and languages. Students who come here don't just read about cultural diversity in a textbook, they live it. They celebrate Diwali with fireworks, throw colors during Holi, share meals during Eid, and participate in Christmas celebrations with their peers. Exposure to so many traditions broadens their worldview and builds an appreciation for different ways of life. This cultural immersion often leads to rapid personal growth. Students learn adaptability, how to navigate crowded markets, how to bargain in local shops, how to communicate across cultures. They develop resilience when adjusting to new foods, climates, or social norms. And they gain confidence by stepping outside their comfort zones. Another important layer is networking. India's international schools and universities often host students from dozens of countries: Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Southeast Asia. For American students, this means building friendships and professional networks that stretch across continents. In an era where careers are increasingly global, these early connections are priceless. Take the case of Ethan, a student from Chicago. When he joined an international school in Pune, he didn't just study chemistry and literature. He joined the Model United Nations team, where he worked alongside peers from over 15 different countries. He also picked up cricket, a sport he had never even watched before coming to India. By the end of his first year, he said he had grown 10 years wiser, simply because of the exposure to new cultures, ideas, and experiences. This is what makes India so powerful as an educational destination. It doesn't just teach knowledge, it teaches life. Students return home not only with stronger transcripts, but with broader perspectives, deeper empathy, and a sense of independence that will shape the rest of their lives. Career and future opportunities. Now let's look beyond school and university. What comes next? For American students educated in India, the career prospects are stronger than ever. The first factor is India's booming economy. With rapid growth in tech, AI, biotech, finance, and creative industries, India is now one of the most dynamic job markets in the world. Multinational companies are expanding their operations here, while homegrown startups are scaling globally. American students graduating from Indian institutions have direct access to internships and jobs in these thriving sectors. Secondly, Indian degrees are increasingly recognized worldwide. Graduates from IITs, IIMs, Ashoka, and Manipal are recruited not just in India, but in Singapore, Dubai, London, and Silicon Valley. For American students, this means that an Indian education doesn't lock them into one geography. It opens doors across the globe. There's also a growing trend of hybrid careers. Many students complete part of their education in India, then leverage exchange programs or postgraduate opportunities abroad. This combination gives them both the affordability and cultural depth of India, plus the brand recognition of U.S. or European institutions. Consider the story of Michael, an American student who completed his undergraduate degree in computer science at IIT Bombay. During his final year, he interned at a global AI company in Bengaluru, then received a job offer at their Singapore office. Today, he works across Asia, collaborating with teams in India, China, and the US. His career is truly global, and it all started with choosing India as his education base. For parents worried that studying in India might limit future opportunities, the opposite is proving true. American students educated in India are entering the workforce with not only strong academic credentials, but also the adaptability, networks, and global mindset that employers increasingly value. In many ways, they are better prepared for the 21st century economy than peers who never stepped outside the US. Challenges and adjustments, of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Moving across the world to study in India comes with its share of challenges, and American students often face a steep adjustment curve in their first months. The most immediate hurdle is culture shock. The food is spicier, the climate can be hotter or more humid than what many are used to, and the teaching styles may feel more formal or exam-driven compared to American classrooms. For some, these differences feel exciting. For others, they take time to embrace. Homesickness is another very real issue. Being thousands of miles away from family and friends can be tough, especially for younger students in boarding schools. Many schools address this by offering strong pastoral care, counseling, and frequent opportunities for virtual family check-ins. Over time, though, most students build surrogate families among friends, teachers, and host communities. Navigating bureaucracy can also be a challenge. From getting student visas to handling admissions paperwork, processes are not always as streamlined as in the US. But this, too, becomes part of the learning curve. Students and parents alike build patience and problem-solving skills in the process. Then there are safety concerns. It's natural for parents to worry, but many Indian schools and universities are increasingly prioritizing campus security. Gated campuses, 24/7 guards, strict ID checks, and dedicated student welfare offices help ensure safety for international students. Finally, students often grapple with balancing their Western identity within an Indian system. At first, they may feel different or even isolated. When American students look back on their time in India, a common theme emerges. The challenges they faced turned into the very lessons that shaped them most. The first lesson is patience. Whether it's waiting in line at a government office or adjusting to new academic expectations, India teaches resilience. Students who once grew frustrated with delays often return home calmer, more resourceful, and better able to navigate life's inevitable hurdles. The second is adaptability. Immersed in one of the world's most diverse societies, students quickly learn how to thrive in unfamiliar settings. They pick up bits of new languages, learn to respect religious and cultural traditions different from their own, and find common ground with people from across the globe. And the third is growth. This growth is academic, personal, and even spiritual. Students gain independence and empathy. Parents discover new perspectives, and families as a whole often say the experience reshaped how they see the world. One American parent summed it up perfectly. If you can thrive in India, you can thrive anywhere. The idea is that India is not just a country, it's a proving ground for global citizenship. The lessons learned here go beyond grades and degrees. They prepare students to lead, to collaborate, and to succeed in an interconnected, unpredictable world. Future trends. What's next? So where is all of this heading? If current trends continue, India is poised to become Asia's new education hub. Already, major international universities like Deakin University from Australia and NYU have announced or opened campuses in India. By 2030, we're likely to see a surge of foreign universities establishing branches here, blending the best of East and West in one place. Student exchange programs are also expected to double by the end of the decade, with India becoming one of the top choices for semester abroad programs. For many U.S. students, studying in India will no longer feel like a fringe decision. It will become a mainstream option. In fact, the phrase study abroad might even change. Instead of students saying they're going abroad to India, it may soon be that India itself becomes the default destination for American students seeking affordable, high-quality, and globally relevant education. Closing/call to action. So, let's bring it all together. In 2025, the world is watching a remarkable shift. American students, once the faces of U.S.-bound mobility, are now heading east, toward India. The reasons are clear: affordability, quality, cultural richness, and global opportunity. From the rise of IB schools to the power of IITs, from immersive festivals to global career paths, India is no longer just a place to visit. For many American families, it has become the classroom of the future. And while the journey isn't without its challenges, culture shock, homesickness, bureaucracy, those very obstacles are what forge resilience, adaptability, and growth. Students return home not just better educated, but better prepared for life in a complex, interconnected world. Now I want to hear from you. Would you consider sending your kids to study in India? Why or why not? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know what you think. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who cares about the future of global education. And don't miss our next video. Top 10 Indian universities American students are choosing in 2025. Until then, remember, education isn't just about